Well, I'm joined in the studio now by former Conservative MP Neil Parish. Neil, how are you?
I'm OK. Yesterday I was turning hay in Somerset, and now I'm back here talking to you tonight. So it's a sort of strange combination at the moment.
OK, fair enough. All right, well, I won't make the joke. So who are you? Sorry, I couldn't resist. So who are you backing then?
I think if I was, a voting MP at the moment, I'd probably back Rishi Sunak. Penny Mordaunt's pushing hard.
Yeah.
Lots of ladies coming, or women coming through. I get told off for calling them ladies, but I don't mean anything derogatory. It's a compliment. I think it's a really interesting race. You've got Jacob Rees-Mogg going out saying, trying to say that Rishi was a socialist. Well, the trouble was, Rishi had a Prime Minister who was busy spending money. Boris was good at spending money, very good at many other things, but and he had to raise the money. So quite little bit rich for Jacob to sort of come in too hard. And of course, you see, really, theoretically, when a Tory race is on, you shouldn't really be having a go at each other. It's a bit like the Barons being out of control, really.
Well, there's been reports that I must say I found quite funny, actually, earlier today, about, quotes unquote, dirty tricks. So there was quite a few of them knocking about, including, apparently, for a while, if you clicked on Nadeem Zahawi's website, it sent you to Penny Mordaunt's website, right?
Oh, right?
So someone was obviously getting involved there.
Yes.
Some talk as well of Rishi Sunak lending Jeremy Hunt some votes, apparently, or some MPs so he could make it, but knowing that he'd drop out. Is it all a bit dirty?
It can be, and of course, sometimes I think the stories are a little bit too clever for their own good, because it can come unstuck if you lend too many votes anywhere. But of course, you are dealing, dare I say it, with an interesting electorate. They will sort of swap around a bit. They will perhaps tell you one thing and do another. Has been known. And so I'm being sort of slightly sarcastic.
Yes.
But, that's the trouble, you see. And, of course, the interesting thing now is if you look at the sort of the other, Tom Tugendhat, you've got Suella Braverman and Kemi Badenoch. She's a bit of a wild card to watch, in my view, because she's very good, very able, a little bit different. Now, on the face of it, it looks like Rishi and Penny Mordaunt, are the two for the ballot. But I wouldn't guarantee it, because you've got another 100 votes, basically, or 70 votes when Tom Tugendhat or Suella Braverman come out. Where do they go? Does Liz Truss make it up into third place, or does Kemi Badenoch just squeeze? And then, of course, we've got another 100 votes then before you get down to the last two. So lots of excitement yet.
Lots of excitement. It is gripping stuff. You can't look away from it. I imagine as well, though, that one of the big key issues here is going to be who does better up north, OK? Yes. Because that is a massive issue, right? The Red Wall.
It is.
Now, I'm from... So, Esther McVeigh, actually, is my local MP. Tatton, well, it was.
That's right.
Here now, of course. But, and before that was George Osborne, though you wouldn't know, you never saw him. But...
I did know him quite well, actually. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure you did. You knew him better than me. I lived there for 20 years and I never saw him once. But there we are.
I'll pass on the message.
I'm sure. Yeah, do. Yes, no, exactly. He's probably busy counting his money now, anyway. But as is indeed his right. Yes. But yes, no. But I'm convinced. I'm convinced that Penny Mordaunt goes down better up north than Rishi Sunak. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's possible. And I think what would be good, to go to the party with, it may land up even being sort of two women on
It could be.
And no problem there. But I think what would be quite nice if it lands up with at least one woman and one man on the list, because it then gives the party membership a little bit of choice, a little bit of different in character. I mean, Penny Mordaunt is a great woman. I mean, I've known her for a long time. She's very straightforward. And I think, in this day and age, perhaps it's been honesty and integrity that's been sort of in the spotlight.
Yeah.
We may well need some difference. So it's really, I describe the party at the moment a bit like the King John court at the time. The barons are out of control. They're all vying for position. So whoever becomes Prime Minister, leader of the party, there will need to be a settling down process because, it's cost of living crisis, inflation, all the worries that people have got out there, we've got to deal with. And at the moment, we're contemplating our own navels. And, after all the shenanigans, we've got to be careful. People need to trust us again.
Yeah, we do. We'll move on to that. But one of the things at the minute that I'm hearing, it seems to all be about things like tax cuts and the cost of living crisis. I'm not hearing much about immigration. And that's a massive issue for a lot of people. Is it just because they don't think they can actually tackle it?
Well, I think, I mean, it's an interesting one, sending people to Rwanda, because it's not, I mean, hopefully it's not women and children that will go, but it's just sort of sending the right message that, you see, because people are being trafficked across the channel, paying a lot of money to go in a very dodgy boat. So, I mean, the idea really of this is not to actually persecute them when they get here, but actually say to them, probably don't come here in the first place, because many of them are, men looking for work. You can't blame them for that. But it's such a risk coming across the channel. So I don't think we're being vicious over that. I think we're just sending the message, basically.
Can I ask you something a little bit off topic? This, Neil, do you miss being an MP?
I do, yes. I chaired the Select Committee. I enjoyed food and agriculture. I did a lot of work with Fair Share to distribute food. Cross-party, when you chair a Select Committee, very much cross-party. So I enjoyed working with all sides. Of course, I also enjoyed perhaps a little bit too much putting sometimes our own ministers up against the wall and grilling them. And I don't think that helped me much with my debacle, really, in the end.
Yeah, I mean, look, can I ask you a little bit about that? Because, I mean, personally, no one's squeaky clean, and we all make mistakes. So I think certainly, I'm not sitting here judging anyone at all. How do you feel about what went on there? Do you think you, for want of a better phrase, cocked up a bit, really?
I certainly did, and I made the right decision to go. Right. I just sort of a little bit interested in those that were making the judgment on me.
Yeah.
One of the previous deputy chief whips, so Christopher Pincher. So. And of course, I didn't actually know anything about that. And you may sound mad, but of course, you see, when you chair a Select Committee, you get elected by Parliament. You don't go sort of through the patronage system, and so to a degree, I got on with my own thing, enjoyed what I was doing, enjoyed the constituency, but didn't really look over my shoulder at what is happening. Now, I shouldn't have done it, but I think, like I said, what I would just gently say to the party, you do need to care for MPs, even when you take the whip away from them. And, of course, the trouble is, you are left to face, quite an interesting...
It must have been very difficult.
It was very difficult.
It must have been very difficult, and...
But I made the right decision. I had to go, and like I said, I still have a political brain on me, so it's trying to use that, really.